remind us that even though for most of us, or I don't know, I won't even say most of us, for me, for some of us, like my mom's fabulous and I love my mom, but not everybody has a good day on Mother's Day, right? Some people are grieving, some people it's a really hard day, so we just really open ourselves to honor all of that. Some people have lost their moms, and I haven't. I don't know what that feels like. I can only imagine. Some moms have lost kids. Those are really hard days. Some moms weren't present. Some moms were in the form of dads, right? And so we just honor moms, but then we honor a bigger picture than just mom. We honor a mother's love. And what is a mother's love? And can only moms offer mother's love? No, mother's love is bigger than that. So we just open ourselves to even bigger than whatever we think. So one of my favorite stories about a mother's love is a story of a couple who was Kate and David Ogg. It was very all over the internet quite a few years ago, but it still touches me in some way. They were a young couple and they wanted a baby so bad, like it seems like pretty common these days, and weren't able, and they went through the fertility thing and they did all the stuff that you do, and finally she got pregnant. They were so happy. And she was pregnant with twins and they were doubly happy. And then at 26 weeks, something happened that caused her to give birth. And the first baby was born. His name was Jamie. And 2 minutes later, his little sister, Emily, was born. And Emily was rushed off to, the unit, natal unit, whatever. And the doctors kept Jamie there, and they worked with him, and they worked with him, and they worked with him, and they worked with him. And all of a sudden, the energy in the room, instead of celebratory for these two little beings that were just born, is getting heavier and getting heavier and getting heavier. And they're like, what's wrong, what's wrong, what's wrong? You could feel something's wrong. And the doctors, after 20 minutes, they said, oh, I'm so sorry, we couldn't keep him. He's gone. And of course, they grieve. Of course, they're like, oh, no, that can't be. They goes, well, at least let us hold him. So the doctors said, okay, but just know that he's gone. And so the mom put this baby Jamie, on her naked chest, and she had the husband take his shirt off and crawl into the bed with him, and they just held him and they stroked him and they just loved him. They just loved him. They said, your name's Jamie and your sister's Emily, and we had all these ideas for you, and even though you didn't get to stay on the planet, we love you so much, and we want you to know you're a part of our family. And they just talked to him and loved him and stroked him. And about 5 minutes in, he gasped. And they said, oh my gosh, he gasped. And the doctor said, no, that's just reflex. It doesn't mean anything. Don't worry about it. It's just a reflex. And they kept talking to him. They kept stroking him, and they kept loving him, and they poured their hearts into this little boy. And his gasping continued. And actually, his movements, he started to move his body a little bit more. And the movements were actually getting stronger, not less. And they kept at it. And they were talking to themselves, and they were talking to him. And finally, 2 hours later, that little boy, Jamie, opened his eyes. And they kept calling to the doctor. They kept saying, you need to come see this. Dead babies don't do this. He just kept blowing them off. It's like, no, that's just reflex. Don't worry. You just want it to be so much. And they finally got the doctor in by saying, okay, we've resigned ourselves. He's dead. Now come talk to us about why and what happened. And that got the doctor back in the room. He said, I've never seen this. I've never seen this. The last article that I could find was still about 3 or 4 years ago, and those twins were 5, so now they're like 9. And healthy, and that little boy never had a single health issue in his life. That's a mother's love. Do you call it a miracle? Maybe. This family was in Australia, and one of the things that's common there is what they call kangaroo care, which is when an infant is born, they put the skin on skin, and the mother's heartbeat and the mother's voice and the mother's warmth allows these children, these babies, premature ones for sure, but any baby, to be more secure in the birth process. A mother's love is the most powerful thing in all the world. And it's only a glimmer of God's love. Like, think of those of you who are moms and those of you who are grandmoms. You know, when my kids were born, I birthed 2 kids, and that was an amazing love. It was like, you know, so profound. It was like, it blew my mind. And, you know, the first one, I'm like, oh, I had no idea I could love this much. And then the second one is like, there's no way I'm going to love the second one as much as the first one. And then you do, right? It's like, heart bursting open. And then my first granddaughter was born, and holy cow, that was a whole nother layer of love. And now, between Rob and I, we have what I call a non-blended family. Between us, we have 8 kids and 16 grandkids. Is that right? Counting Jenny? 8 kids and 16 grandkids. Of those 16 grandkids, 11 of them are under 11. And 4 of them I'll get to see today, because I'm on my way right after service to Kansas City to be with my daughter who had some surgery. Those are 4 under 10. She's fine, and she needs help. She needs help because of surgery. She might need help because she has 4 kids, but she's doing fine. So a mother's love is a bit, right? An aspect of what we call God's love. A mother's love is different than a father's love, but only by like shades. Like what you would think of is, you know, you think of the divine feminine, you think of feminine love, you think of mother God, you think of mother goddess, you think of mother love, you think of kindness, compassion, nurturing, nourishing, comforting, stable, like no matter what, I love you. Think of a mother's love for that newborn. That's just that purity of love. But think of a mother's love for a newborn that's having some health issues. There's a fierceness in that. There's a difference in that. We've got somebody in our community who experienced some of that, and that baby's doing fine. But there's another layer there. And then I think of a father's love, and it's like, you go, and it's like calling you up, and like a little bit more competitive, and a little bit more of action, like, let's go do this thing called life, and you can do whatever you want. And there's a different flavor to that. There's a different flavor to the loves. But what is ours to do? What if our work is to come to experience all of love? Love is the very essence of the universe. Love is the great harmonizing power. Love is all that is. Love is the very foundation of our being. Without love, we don't exist. So love is like profound. And love is so much more than what I call emotional love, right? You all know that. Emotional love is like, oh, I love you. Oh, I can't stand you. Oh, I love you. Oh, I can't stand you. That's emotional love. That's up and down based on circumstances. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about the great harmonizing principle. So I have a story. It's sort of a joke, so don't take offense because it's meant as a joke. There were 3 men who were raised as brothers, and they were great brothers, and they had a mother who was getting elderly, and they thought, wow, they're all super successful now, and they're like, what can we do for mom this year for Mother's Day? What can we do? What can we do? And the one boy goes, I know, the first one, I'm going to buy her a Mercedes. She'll love the Mercedes. And the second one, not to be outdone by the first, goes, I'm going to buy her a new house. This beautiful big house that she would love more than anything. She's always, I'm buying her a house. And the third boy kind of held back a little bit. And then it got to be Mother's Day, and they were talking. They go, what'd you get, Mom? What'd you get, Mom? And they're like, well, you never told us what you were going to get, Mom. And he goes, I found the best gift for Mom of anything. You know, she loves Scripture. And you know, since she's gotten older, her eyesight isn't so good, she can't read it anymore. So I found this parrot who has memorized all of the Scriptures by name and you know, like Romans 12:2. You like every Scripture. This parrot knows it. All she has to do is throw out a verse and the parrot will speak it for her. And he's so proud of himself. He's like, that's the best gift ever. And then Mother's Day comes and goes, and then the mom writes notes to all the kids, and she says, well, Andy, you know, that Mercedes is very, very beautiful, but you know I don't drive anymore, so I sold it. And John, that house was gorgeous. It was a mansion to me. It was totally beautiful, but I'm all alone. I'm going to live in one single room. I don't want it. I'm going to sell it. But Philip, that was the best Mother's Day gift ever. You know how much I love a good meal, and that chicken was so delicious. Feeling groovy. I know it's bad. I know it's bad, but it was so good. So Father, Mother, God. Father, Mother, God. Father, Mother, God. Mother's love. A mother's, Mother God's love. How do you open to it? How do you, when you have, well, here's the deal. We are created in the image and likeness of God, but we have it backwards. Because we created a God in our image and likeness, or the image and likeness of our dysfunctional father. No offense to all the good dads. But we have a God, many of us, maybe not all the way across the board, who is created in the image and likeness of what we think a daddy should or should not be. We have an image of God that is the guy up in the sky that's going to bless you if you're good, maybe, and absolutely curse you if you're bad. So why do we believe what we believe anyway? What if we could dismantle all of our ideas about what we think God is, what we think love is, and open to a new possibility? Like experience a new possibility, because, you know, we can think about it all day long, but that's not going to change anything. What we need is the experience. We need to feel the palpable presence of love in our lives. We need to get out of our heads and into our bodies. We need to move these truth principles that we know from our minds, from knowing about them, being able to speak about them, to embodying them, to becoming that very presence of love, no matter what shows up in the world. You look at our world today. Our world is interesting. Do you know what that means? Interesting? I think Rob taught me this, but maybe I learned it in seminary. I can't remember. Interesting means when you say, how are you? It's like, I'm fine. What's going on? Well, I've had an interesting day. It means God helped me through this. What if we could open ourselves, awaken to such a degree that we take the spiritual truth principles that we know, that we teach, that we talk about, and embody them. Embody them in a way that we become different. Embody them in a way that we become different in a way that expands us so far that we embrace and allow more love. What if in that awakening, and this is my personal mission on the planet, our awakening to such a degree that we dismantle and dissolve any sense of separation. And when we open and allow that much love to flow in and through us, that love that is creation, that is both within us and greater than us, when we allow that, separation will not be a part of our experience. And what we'll have is oneness. Who are we? We are the center for spiritual oneness. That means, in my mind, that we are called to embrace and embody and become what? Duality? No! Separation? What? No! But oneness. That means that we believe in the core of our being. There's only one presence and one power active in the universe, and that is love. And that when we know love, and the purity of love, and when I talk about the purity of love, it's not even just unconditional love, right? It's so much more beyond that. Well, that was good English, more beyond that. It's so much bigger than that. And when we know that there's only one power, and it is love, and we become that love, then we change at death. And when we live in that place of oneness, of love, we become kinder, we become more compassionate, we become less judgmental. Fear dissipates, and when fear shows up, we face it with love. Course in Miracles says there's only two emotions, it's fear and love, and you cannot be in the two places at once. So if you are in an experience of dis-ease, of stress, of chaos, of overwhelm, of worry, of judgment, of procrastination, of resistance, right? All those things, if you are in those places, it's not about guilt or judgment. If you notice that you're having that experience, notice what you notice, interrupt the pattern, and choose love. Pivot to love. Because you can either be in fear or you can be in love. You cannot be in both. You can either be in love, and I don't mean in love, but as love. You can either be love or you can be worry. You can't be both. And so when you take that, it's not news to anybody, right? You've heard this before, but when you take it and you embody it to the next level of your own experience, you can begin to notice. It's like, oh, I'm a little anxious. Oh, I have a little, something going on in my brain. I'm like really judgmental about that thing. And you just notice it without judgment, and then you choose again. You choose again. Fear, judgment, anger, guilt, shame. Well, I'm going to take anger out of there because we can be anger and love. But less than love, pivot to love. Look away from the material world. Look away from the situation, the circumstance that is causing you grief, and look up. Looking up. Just look up. And find that which is greater than you. And find that is greater than our life, than our world, than our situation, than our circumstances. Do you believe that there is something that is bigger than us? Yes, there has to be. In my belief system, there has to be. But that is not separate from us. It is within us and greater than us. So a little cute story here. You might have seen it on Facebook. The short version is there's twins, more twins. It's the day of twins. Twins, but these ones are in the womb. They're fetuses, and they're having a conversation. And the short version says, one is an atheist and one is a believer. And one says to the other, do you believe in life after birth? And the long version goes like this. Do you believe in life after delivery? That's sort of interesting. Do you believe in life after delivery? And the second baby was, well, of course. There has to be something after delivery. Maybe we're here to prepare ourselves for what will be later. Nonsense, said the first. There's no life after delivery. What would that even be like? I mean, have you even seen Mom? I don't know, but there'll be more light than here. Maybe we'll walk with our legs and eat with our mouths. The doubting baby laughed. That's absurd. How can you even believe that? Walking is impossible, and eat with our mouths? Ridiculous. The umbilical cord provides our nutrition. Life after delivery is to be excluded. The umbilical cord is too short. It would never happen. Second baby held his ground. I think there's something. And maybe it's different than it is here. And the first one said, well, nobody's ever come back. Delivery is the end of life, and in the after delivery, there is nothing but darkness and anxiety, and it takes us nowhere. Well, I don't know, said the twin, but we certainly will see Mother, and she will take care of us. Mother? You believe in Mother? Where is she now? Second baby calmly and patiently tried to explain, she's all around us. It's in her that we live. Without her, there would not be this world. I don't see her, so it's only logical that she doesn't exist. To which the other one replied, sometimes when you're in silence, you can hear her. You can perceive her. I believe there's a reality after delivery, and we're here to prepare ourselves for that reality once it comes. Do you believe in life after birth? And are you ready to be birthed yet again? To be birthed into a new reality, to be birthed into a oneness? Are you ready to be birthed from where we are, which is nothing wrong with where we are, into a greater experience of love? Are you ready to be the ones? And you're the ones because you're sitting here today. Are you ready to be the ones that take a stand for love in the world, that take a stand? Are you ready to be the ones that are an example for the world in kindness, in compassion, in non-judgment, in acceptance, in allowing? Are you ready to be the ones to awaken to a whole new way of being? Because I think it's possible. And not only do I think it's possible, I know it's possible, and I know it's right here, and it's right now, and it's so accessible. So what is this love? We have Tracy J in the house. She's going to do a workshop for us this week, and she's going to do angel at heart activation readings all week. So she'll come up at the end and give a little bit of announcement. But I wanted to share what she says love is, because it goes right along with what I'm talking about and what we're talking about. She says, love is all there is. It is the creative God force which gives life to everything and everyone. It is experienced and expressed in many different ways, and to the degree in which you allow love will be to the degree that you experience and have the capacity to express it. Tracy's work is about opening our heart, activating our heart to love. My work is about opening the heart and activating the heart, the deeper, wider spiritual heart, to a love that our brains can only begin to comprehend, to a love that the planet can only begin to imagine. But the time is now. The tools are here. And if you're willing, would you be willing to have a different experience? To get out of your head and into love. I used to say out of your head and into your heart, but what I found about that is when you're trying to get out of your head and into your heart, that 18-inch journey that we're talking about, it's near impossible to get there, because then you have to get through the head. But if you bypass the mind and you land into your body and you land into the lower parts of your body, and then from your hip space, you raise your energy and your awareness, you land in this deeper spiritual heart. Places that many of us have never even accessed yet, but we're being called to. We're being called to access a new dimension on the planet. We're being called to open to a new consciousness on the planet. That is of love, that of its oneness. What is love? Love is all there is. Love is the great harmonizing principle. Love is what you be when you feel groovy. What the world needs now is love. Absolutely. Sweet love. Not from your brain, but from your very being. Become the love, be the love, emanate the love. So your homework, didn't know you'd get homework on a Sunday morning, did you? Your homework is to let's get together. Let's get together and be the love. Love for one another, love for ourselves, love for spirit, love for our world. I love you. God bless you.